Sex is the most talked about part of relationships, yet it's least understood. And on today's episode of the Faloh Frequency, we'll be having a very mature, honest, and unfiltered conversations about sex. And here in the studio with me, we have a clinical sex expert, Talk with Ireti. Can we meet you, please?
Hi,
What's your name?
my name is
What do
Ireti
you do?
Obalkoje. So I'm a clinical sexuality coach,
Hmm?
and so what I do basically is I engage with couples, intending couples. I engage them on everything that revolves around intimacy education, and I also host a hangout, right? It's called the Hangout Session with Ireti. And what we do basically there is it's like sex education infused with entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
So we collaborate with music artists, comedians, um, basically arts and entertainment, and whereby we engage people, they get to engage with other therapists, other sexuality coaches, and then we talk about sex education. Sex education is very vast.
Mm-hmm.
So practicing safe sex, body awareness, intimacy itself, pleasure, connection, and a whole lot more. That's what we do. And I also have like a youth workshop for
Mm-hmm.
young adults and even also teenagers, where I, engage with teenagers. We go to schools, communities, local councils, collaborate with them, and engage with, teenagers, young people, telling them about sex education, basically. Right.
Thank you very much. So let's go straight to why we are here. You know why we are
Yeah.
here. So, from your years of professional experiences, what is the misconception people have about sex?
Hmm. Okay. So now we're
Oh,
getting into the
it's
adult
yeah,
conversation.
it's adult conversation. So it's more
Okay.
like asking you what is sex exactly.
Okay, so well, when it comes to misconceptions about sex, firstly, let me start with couples here.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to the misconception about sex, I'm going to
Mm.
talk about two. The first one is that um, majority of the people feel that sexual satisfaction comes from just chemistry, the attraction, and the love.
Mm-hmm.
While those three are important,
Mm-hmm.
there's also the part of being very intentional, being very vulnerable with each other, communication, connection, pleasure. So what I'm just trying to say here is that the misconception basically is about, sexual satisfaction dependent on the chemistry they both share, whereas they neglect the part of being very intentional and also focusing on communication. And the second misconception here is frequency of sex and performance. Like majority of the people are so focused on performance.
Mm.
Like you know when
Mm-hmm.
I'm good, she's good. He's not good, he's good. They're too focused on performance and the number of sex they have, the frequency, and when it comes to sex, is far from just the performance and frequency. There's the area of being really vulnerable with each other as
Mm.
couples and also communication. I'm really going to emphasize on communication today. So
Okay.
you would hear me talking about communication more. I'm going to be mentioning communication like almost every other
I
time.
mean, that's why we are here.
Because so basically those two.
All right, these things you mentioned, because we would try to, relate our conversations to the UK because
Yeah.
that's where we live.
Yeah.
Do you think that relocating to the UK has affected, a lot of marriages in terms of
Hmm. Yes.
okay?
Do you know why?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to relocation and intimacy,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, it is a very big one. It
Okay.
is, I mean, it leaves a very big gap, right? And a very big dent.
Okay.
Now, first of all, relocation can, it stems from, it causes disruption. Let me put
Hmm.
it that way. It causes disruption. The chaos of, having to pack, unpack, new environments, um, established new routines that you're not so used to.
Hmm.
It's a lot. It can actually affect one's libido temporarily. It can actually cause a reduced libido. It can also affect spontaneous pleasure. The way couples would connect, you know, naturally, it
Mm-hmm.
can actually affect it. Why? Because they're so overwhelmed with the new routine. There's just too much going on at the same time. But one solution that I can say is very, very um okay for couples to
Mm-hmm.
take note of, I mean, to apply, yeah, is when they are very intentional, right? When couples practice intentionality, especially when you just newly relocated or you've relocated, right? When you're intentional with date nights, for examples, or
Mm-hmm.
doing things that will just help you both bond together. So what that does is that it just ignites the emotional connection. And once you're able to ignite the emotional connection, it helps you work better with the physical connection, because without connecting emotionally, the physical aspect is missing. And most couples that relocate miss out on that part. So they are overwhelmed with too many activities and they expect magic in bed at night. It won't work that way.
It won't work that way.
Yeah.
So this one's gonna be pragmatic because if we have to be sincere with each other, we realize that women complain more about sex. The men not being very active, not or underperforming.
Okay.
Women, we don't really complain like that. We don't really complain. At least we just want to come and we are okay. So why do you think these complaints are coming out from women? Like, it's a 2 minute man, and what do you think men need to do better?
Hmm. Well, there's what we call performance anxiety
Mm-hmm.
for men. Yeah. And also some women too, they have um they have too much of expectations.
Too much of
Yeah.
expectations. I want you
Yeah.
to say that again.
Yeah.
Too much of
Yeah, too much of
expectations.
expectations.
Okay.
Because when you have too much of expectations, and on the other hand,
Mm-hmm.
the man also probably has performance anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
where he's also focused on goals.
Mm.
Is focused on wanting to perform. The lady too is focused on, I want him to perform. Now, both parties, they leave the area of connection, the real pleasure that they should both be enjoying, and they focus more on goals. Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because, in recent times,
Mm-hmm.
don't lie, I don't know if you two are among them. Me too, I'm guilty. We are all guilty one way or
I
the
want
other.
what,
But,
please.
but
I'm not a 2 minute man.
no,
Oh.
no, no, no. That's not what I'm saying. No, I'm not talking
So
about the two. I'm
okay,
actually talking about what actually causes people to expect so much of a great
okay,
performance. It's
okay.
porn, right?
Porn.
Yeah. So
Do
everyone,
you think it's porn?
porn is part of it,
It's
because
part of it.
yeah, because I'm not speaking for everyone. So that's why I like to use majority of the people. Everyone is watching porn. So everyone has an expectation. There's an expectation that is set for how you want him to
And I
perform.
don't think it's not coming from the women because I think men want to perform because they are being judged. A lady
Okay.
will say, "Oh, that guy, he get good, or he dey do an hour." So everybody wants. It's not because we watch the porn.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I don't know. Maybe the women watch the porn.
Yeah, so I'm speaking for both parties. Now,
Okay.
for the man too,
Mm-hmm.
they forget the part where there should be shared pleasure. Let me put it that way. Shared pleasure is when both parties are actually focusing on the pleasure they want to
What is
both
that
enjoy.
pleasure?
Pleasure is connection,
Okay.
right? So in most cases, they're focused on the goals. So even the man as well is focused on how he wants to hammer the babe in
Okay.
few minutes. Now, whether you hammer the babe in few minutes or in hours, she might still not be sexually satisfied. So you can see that because the man is also focused on wanting to impress the babe,
Mm-hmm.
he has neglected the part
So
of
you are saying
giving
that
pleasure.
sex now is not about impression, not like
No,
trying to
no, no, no.
impress.
It's not about impression. It's about shared pleasure,
Okay.
shared connection, where both of you are actually mutually pleasuring each other. So for the lady that has also set expectations because she wants him to perform in some certain type of way, it's because she wants sexual satisfaction. Now, in wanting sexual satisfaction, she already plays the goal, isn't it? She already has a set goal. Like, I really want to be sexually satisfied when I meet with my man or with my husband, right? Now, the husband or the guy on the other hand too, because he's also experiencing some level of performance anxiety, he's focused on just wanting to overperform. And in trying to overperform, he's actually neglecting the key areas to pleasure the woman. The woman, on the other hand, she's solely focused on wanting him to maybe impress her, or I mentioned something the other time. I said the frequency of sex. She wants him to really do as much as she wants, forgetting why they are really there. So really,
Now, because you mentioned shared, pleasure and
yeah,
all of that, and what we get when you communicate with us is how long. But it's not looking like this shared pleasure you're talking about. It's not about how long.
it's not about how long.
But what women communicate to us is most times how long. 2 minutes, man. Ah, that guy is you. He did take for day. So what exactly is this shared pleasure?
Okay.
Is it the foreplay?
Mm-hmm.
Or what exactly is it?
Okay, so now, when it comes to sex, it can be complex. It can be funny. So you might have woman A say, I'm fine with him if it's just 2 minutes. You see woman B, she says, I'm fine with 8 minutes. I want him to go for like 1 hour. Same with men too. Different strokes for different folks. Now, what I'm trying to say here is, when it comes to shared pleasure, you are not focusing on how long.
Okay.
There's no timing when it comes to giving pleasure.
Mm.
What you're both focused on is how much you both just want to enjoy each other.
Women don't know this thing you're saying.
Yeah,
They don't know
majority,
it.
of course.
So it's good
I
it's
know.
coming from you, a
Yeah.
woman.
How much you
So I
want
won't be judged if I'm in 2 minutes. I won't be judged by anyone.
It is, so that's what we call personal preference. I just said that now.
Yeah.
I might really dig someone that, man, I like it when we go hours or minutes or whatever, long minutes. And then there's some people, see, 2 minutes, 3 minutes is okay. Now, the whole point here is that whatever minute or however you both like it, the truth is that if both of you are focusing on the pleasure, you can even go longer than expected, because you've taken your focus off trying to impress each other, but focusing on the connection you both share. So really, for men, for women, when I mean shared pleasure, you said I should elaborate on pleasure, right? Pleasure is basically helping each other, exploring each other's bodies,
Let's talk about
doing
explore.
what would, give both parties the satisfaction
What are
that
those
they really
things? The reason
want.
we are doing this podcast is for educational purpose.
Yeah.
It seems we are still talking in parables. It's still looking
Oh, you want me
abstract.
to hit the nail on the head?
It's still looking abstract to me. Do you get? I wouldn't waste my time watching this if everything is gonna be speaking.
Yeah.
I want to understand when you say, okay, you are my lady, assumption, I'm the man. Tell me, what do I need to do?
Okay. Now, you see, for men, what you need to do to the lady, explore her body.
What
Her
part of her
boobs.
body?
Of course, we are getting there.
Okay.
We're getting there, right? Now, there's what we call erogenous zones,
Okay.
right? Erogenous zones are places she enjoys pleasure. So,
What are those
erogenous
places?
zones that are common to majority of the women? The breast, the boobs, right?
What do I do with it?
Her neck, the boobs. Now, now.
I don't know, geez.
Sock now, sock.
Okay.
Sock, lick,
Okay.
sock. Some people like it to be dragged, depending on what you enjoy.
Okay.
Some people like it rough, and some people like it mild.
Okay.
So, men should also pay attention. You want to study your woman. You should know what works for your woman. Woman A might like it very rough. The other woman might like it really gentle. So you're with your woman, and you should be able to tell, the level of frequency that she likes. Whether she wants it very mild, or she wants it very calm, or very, very rough, or fast, whichever ways. So yes, the breast, the nipples,
Okay.
licking, sucking, touching, grabbing,
Okay.
whatever. And
Okay.
yeah, and also the vulva. Some men do not even understand the vulva.
Teach us.
I cannot teach everything here now,
Say what you need to say. What me now?
right?
Yeah. I want to learn.
Okay. So, do you know that some men
Mm-hmm.
in 2025,
Mm-hmm.
they still cannot exactly tell where the clitoris is?
Okay.
Do you know why?
Mm.
Some men actually feel that the clitoris is the same on every woman. Yeah.
So how do I know where the
So
the location for?
some ladies have their clitoris, flat. Some it's very visible. Some it's not so visible. Some you actually have to stimulate it for it to
Come
become
out?
visible. Yeah. And for some, it is really, really visible. Without even touching it, you can see it. So if you don't understand the vulva anatomy, you don't even understand the woman's body, you don't understand the anatomy of the vulva, right? So let me give this example. So maybe you were with Shaki, for example. Sorry, I'm using Shaki. Maybe you were with Shaki. You know the way Shaki is personal to Shaki. Now you now meet Bumi, thinking it is how Shaki's vulva is. That's the same way Bumi's vulva is. No. And that's why Shaki might have it so fantastic with you. And then, with Bumi, Bumi is like, he's even dulling me. He's not giving me like I expected. And then you're like, me that when I was with Shaki, Shaki's always enjoying me. But how come I'm with Bumi? It's because some men, they just make mouths, right? You don't even understand what it takes to understand these little things. So anyways, not to dwell on that, you said the places
Yes.
they should explore. The boobs, yeah, the vulva, like I said, right? In fact, every part of the body. Do you know why? Because for me, for example, let me say this. Do you know that I always say this in my classes and my sessions? Recently, I discovered that when I'm being touched on my wrists, like if you stimulate, I'm giving my code now, yeah.
Say no. I won't tell anybody.
Do you get?
Between me
So
and
I'm
you.
just trying to use myself as an
Yes,
example, right? Like if you touch my wrist so well stimulated, sometimes it can actually trigger an orgasm. It sounds weird, isn't it? What I'm just trying to say here is that is the beauty of body exploration, right? When you understand how to explore your woman's body, you will discover that there are so many other places that is uncommon, right? That is uncommon that you would discover. And this is the beauty of exploring each other's bodies. And it is not just it's not a gender thing. So it's not like it is only men that should do it to women. So even as a lady too, as the wife too, you should, do it to your man
So
as
what do you
well.
think
Exploring each other's
what part of
bodies.
it? Do you know for men too?
Yeah, for men too, there are different parts as well. Like for example, now I would usually say in my sessions that what comes to a woman naturally, what comes to her, am I okay to let me use clinical words. I don't
Yeah.
I don't because it's a podcast is going public, so don't want to say
Okay.
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So in my sessions too, I always tell the ladies that we all know that when you want to explore a man's body, when you guys kiss and touch each other, the next thing that comes to your mind, you want to grab his penis. Yeah? When you grab his penis. Now, do you know that the penis is not the only place that is meant for pleasure for a man? Yeah. So as we desire to be touched in different places on our bodies, men also crave the same thing. You can attest to that. Are you just all about your penis? Sometimes you want to feel you feel
I don't
wanted.
know what I like. I don't know what I don't know. I don't really, because I
Okay.
don't know. Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay. So how frequent do you think sex will happen between couples or in a relationship?
to be honest, that's a personal thing. I mean, nobody should be put under pressure, right? So there's really nothing like have sex 20 times a week, 2 times a week, 1 time a week. My own 1 time a week can be fantastic to me, and I can be very, very satisfied. For some others, it could be every day. every other day. So every couple is different. Whatever means, whatever that is good for you is good for you. Regular intercourse can be, it can come in however from, just do what makes you both happy, right? So you can see that it's a very tricky question. There is no yes, there's no right or wrong answer to that question, because every couple is different. Our stress levels, our work, everything that makes us a couple is different from every other person. So every couple should just find what works for them, and just encourage, I mean, you can actually make it a priority to have regular intercourse together as couples.
Okay.
Right.
I think that's okay. What do you think about? Let's talk about consent and communication.
Okay.
So, what is consent,
Okay. So
and does it have to be verbal?
hmm now this is a very key topic that um I've been doing some workshops on this more recently. Now, consent is, I'm going to give some words just to, you know, explain how important it is. Consent is enthusiastic. Consent is a yes, right? Or no. Now, consent is verbal.
It
Consent,
has to be verbal.
wait now.
Okay.
Consent is verbal.
Mm-hmm.
Consent is ongoing. So it is not a one off thing, right? Consent is ongoing.
What if I'm married to the?
Just calm down.
Okay.
Consent is consistent. Okay? Now, if you look at all of these words that I've mentioned, what it means is that even in marriage, consent is very important. You see,
Even in marriage.
yeah, I use the word consistent, isn't it? I use the word ongoing. Because my yes today does not mean that I'm saying yes tomorrow.
Well, you don't think that could also be culture biased?
Unfortunately, right? I had a conversation with one of my very good friends last week, and we talked about consent. And really, it was like the way the world is going, and then when we are emphasizing on consent is going to kill the spontaneity. The spontaneity that has to do with intercourse. It's going to kill the spontaneity in intercourse, rather, you know. And I was like, well, it's true, but unfortunately, it is what it is now. Do you know why? Because let me give this example. Now, there's this I don't know if it's a parable, or there's this dirty slang that some guys would say, once they were forever
It's
they
always
were, or
the way.
something. It's always they were. There's nothing like once they were. I mean, it's rubbish.
Are
You
you
see,
sure?
yeah, once they were, that once they were, forever they were, or always they were, is the reason why people need consent education. Yeah, you can once they were. It doesn't mean you would always they were, because my yes yesterday might not be yes tomorrow. So it is important that everybody, including um, men and women, right, boys and girls, should understand that consent is asking for permission, seeking approval. That's what consent is. And the other person too is also
But
giving
are you also
consent.
seeing the effects of this in marriages?
So
So
when
what if I have a wife and I have to seek consent every night?
no,
And don't you think it's transferring power
so
to the woman?
so no, so for this now, I think people mix it all up, right? Now, when it comes to marriage, right, consent in marriage, for example, um, there are times that when how am I going to put it? That's what we also call body cues, languages, body language in consent, right? You can tell when someone is enthusiastic about a situation, when someone is giving you like a go ahead. You can actually tell. Now, while we encourage people to be verbal about it, because I mean, some body cues have been mistaken to be a yes or a no, right? Whereas the person means otherwise, right? But in marriage, for example, the truth is that there's what we call mental stimulation, mental foreplay, right? You can tell when your partner is actually happy to go ahead with whatever. So, for example, you come back from work, and then you can tell that your wife is tired. You know she's tired, or you can tell that your husband is tired, and then you try to touch her, or you try to touch him, and it's like, babes, I'm really, really tired. I've had a long day. Or don't even let me use that, because eventually you might even still, get to, but in a case whereby you're actually there's an ongoing conflict, emotional conflict or physical conflict or whatever, you know that your spouse is not happy with you at that point. All the body language you can see is screaming no.
So you are
And then
saying,
you still go
well, are you
ahead
saying the only
to
time sex will happen in marriage is when they're happy? I mean,
no.
there are sad sex.
Yeah, there's emotional sex.
Eh?
Yeah, there is makeup sex.
Mm-hmm.
I know these things happen, but like I said, you can tell from the body language. Now, if we're a couple, for
Mm-hmm.
example, and we are having emotional issues, we
Mm-hmm.
are having conflict, for example, when it looks like trying to, you know that you can always tell.
Mm-hmm.
If you hurt me, you say you're sorry, and before you know it, I'm sulking and and warming up to you. You can tell. Then makeup sex would enter and things will happen. That's normal. But there are instances where you can tell, like all of our reactions or all of his reactions is
Mm.
screaming a no, and then you still go ahead to want to force the person. No,
So what
that's
happens
not
if the
right.
guy, probably the man, is in the mood like he really needs to do that and is married, and so because the wife is not in a good mood,
Mm-hmm.
is he gonna just kill that vibe?
It's called consent is respect, immediate
So
respect.
if it happens consistently, she keeps
Okay.
doing the same thing, what happens to the
So
marriage?
as he
Is that not
try
breaking up?
no, so as he try to find out why she's neglecting him, as he try to find out why she's not wanting him around. Every women love to be they actually women want to be chased. Women enjoy being wanted. So if you check the root cause,
Mm.
there's always an issue somewhere. So it is unfair to have a request. So you keep requesting for something and then your partner is declining, and then you're not trying to find out why. You're not trying to resolve the root cause,
Mm-hmm.
and you want magic to happen. It doesn't happen that way. And that is where consent to is key. So we have boundaries too. Men have boundaries, women have boundaries. Your boundary or your boundaries is your personal limits, right? We all have our personal limits, right? And it's okay for it to be respected. So, like I said, I said I'm going to be emphasizing on communication.
Mm-hmm.
So, it still brings us back to communication, because if you're having such issues with your partner, right, your partner is declining sex,
Mm.
right, all the time. I mean, and you're not communicating, you're not trying to understand what's going on, you're not trying to see how you can make things work out between you two. I mean, what you expect? Does it make sense?
Well, I don't want to respond to that, but I just feel like sometimes, this consent thing and trying to understand, why women are declining every time. It brings about shifting power,
Mm-hmm.
because when the woman realizes that, okay, you have to come and beg me, tease me to do this, something that's meant to be like we should enjoy together, it now becomes, I'm not holding the power. Come and beg for it. Then there's a demand with it
Mm-hmm.
that comes with it. Like, okay, if you want this to happen, let this happen. And you are thinking that, okay, you're married to this woman already. It shouldn't be the case, because what's the difference between having a wife who's still making demands with sex, and having it outside?
Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not going to be biased.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So while I mean, I've also pointed out that men should also try to understand what's going on and see how they can make things work out. Some women also use it to punish their men,
Mm-hmm.
and it is not fair. It's not
Because
nice
this is it. When a woman wants sex, it's kind of hard for a guy to decline, even if he's not in the mood. He tries to,
to make her happy.
do you understand? But in most cases, when women are stressed or they don't want to do it, then they don't want to do it.
Now, one thing that I like to point out too, Now, let's assume there's a couple here now,
Mm-hmm.
right? She's not really in the mood.
Mm-hmm.
The guy is in the mood. Now, she has stated that she's not in the mood. But what is the other thing he's trying to do to make her be in the mood? You know that there's some men, they just, once their penis is hard, they just want to enter,
Mm-hmm.
right? What are the other things he's trying to do? If you try to touch her in the right way,
Mm-hmm.
she will be wet. She will open her legs by herself for you.
So-
Some men lack this. They don't do that. Trust me.
So those are the things we mentioned earlier, like the
Yeah,
groups.
those
So
are the keys.
someone
little
that's telling
things.
you that she's not in the mood, do you think she's gonna allow you to touch her?
Someone that is saying she's not in the mood,
Mhm.
right? So she has reiterated that she's not in the mood.
Mm.
I'm still going back to what are the things you're doing to trying to get her into the mood. I mentioned mental foreplay the other time, mental stimulation. Why can't you do that? Why do you think it has to be? I mean, you just have to touch her boobs. It has to be physical. I mean, start from the mental aspect.
How does that happen? How?
Different ways. I mean, I said social media, sorry. How am I going to put it? The internet has made things easy. Let me put it that way. So you have your WhatsApp. I want to believe that couples, they probably engage, they talk, they have
That's what I'm saying.
conversations.
That this
It
whole
starts
thing,
from
this whole thing
there.
is making it look like it's one sided, like it's men enjoying it.
No.
Because you're making me go through all of this because I want to have sex.
No.